Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1916. This week we're celebrating the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. It takes place October 15th, 16th, and 17th, and this event includes the West Village Road Rally, the Pace Grand Prix at the Bend, and a Concours d'Elegance, just to name a few. Learn more, go to ChattanoogaMotorcar.com and get your ticket today.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. I'm super excited today because I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee with a very special guest by the name of Corky Coker. Corky, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Here we go, man. Let's put it in gear and burn it.
All right, I love it. Now, before I give you a proper introduction and we dive into what you're doing these days, I would love for you to share one little thing that maybe most people don't know about you.
Well, I'm a grandfather 4 times.
Yeah, cool.
That's one thing. Another thing is I play the 5-string banjo.
Oh, cool.
And I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
I raise grandsons, but now a granddaughter too. And, I love Jesus.
There you go. Well, it sounds like things are going pretty well for you. I'll tell our listeners here, Corky and I had a nice little chat before we started today. I just became a grandfather, so maybe I can call you like the What to Do Grandfather's Hotline at Corky Coker. Can you help me with some things?
Oh, yeah. They're, spoil them, no question about. You got to spoil them and send them home. But the best thing, I'll tell you, Mark, since you're a new grandfather, you just had your grandson just recently, but since you're a new grandfather, the best thing about grandkids is car related. It's headlight and tail lights. You're happy to see them come, but when it's time for them to go, you're happy then too.
I'm gonna remember that. Now, you said something very funny to me in our little pre-show talk about now that you have grandkids, you'll know that you maybe should have just skipped the kids and gone right to the grandkids.
Yeah, because grandkids are so great. Wow. Yeah. And we had so much stress and strife and arguments and all that sort of stuff with the kids. So let's just skip the kids and go straight to the grandkids because they're wonderful.
The problem is you can't really get the grandkids without the kids. So it's part of the deal. It's a package deal.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I see. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
That's the way it works. Well, let me give you a proper introduction. We're going to dive into some fun that you are having now. Corky Coker is the Grand Marshal for the 2nd annual Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, a 3-day event that includes a rally, Grand Prix, and Concours d'Elegance. Corky assumed the leadership role in the Coker's family BF Goodrich tire dealership way back in 1974, and for the next 45 years, he and his team helped define the collector car hobby. Coker Tires solved the challenge of finding the right tires for your collector cars. And I'll tell you, listeners, I bought a lot of tires from these guys. They knew their business. They still do. The company grew to the largest supplier of collector vehicle tires with distributors in over 50 countries. He sold his business back in 2018 to focus on his grandkids and his farming and some of the other fun things he's doing. And he retained what he calls the Honest Charlie Speed Shop in downtown Chattanooga, where he shares over 150 vintage cars and motorcycles with friends and visitors. We'll be back in just a moment to talk with Corky about the Chattanooga event coming up here. But first, a word from our valued sponsor. So give them a little love and we'll be right back. I love Covercraft's new 5-layer all-climate cover. It was developed and engineered for anything Mother Nature can throw our way. It's very soft, breathable, and easy to store and pampers your paint and interior surfaces, providing maximum UV, rain, dust, and snow protection. Add their gust guards for windy conditions for extra protection. Their 5-layer all-climate cover is custom tailored with Covercraft's attention to detail, form and fit with a quality and attention that's been their standard since 1965. Covercraft protects cars, trucks, motorcycles, RVs, trailers, and watercraft too. Every one of my vehicles is protected by a Covercraft cover. And I have a deal for you. Use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order plus free shipping. That's right, 10% off and free shipping. Just type in the word YEAH, Y-E-A-H, 21 at checkout, YEAH21 at covercraft.com. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Last year, I changed my collector car coverage to American Collectors Insurance. That's who now protects my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush. But did you know they also insure your valuable collections of automobilia and other collectibles? If you're like me, you've invested in a lot of cool collectibles over the years. Those items are valuable. And if you were to lose them in a theft or a fire, well, try to get your normal homeowner's insurance to pay you what they're worth. Good luck with that. American Collectors Insurance provides you with assurance and confidence that your collectibles are fully covered. They insure a lot of items, including automobilia, wine, baseball cards, books, figurines, die-cast models, model trains, glassware, sports memorabilia, toys, and a whole lot more. American Collectors Insurance, they've been protecting us enthusiasts since 1976. They provide you with an agreed value insurance policy backed by a long history of taking care of their clients. Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Rains here at Cars Yeah, American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. So this is the second year of the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. As we all knew, COVID kind of messed things up for us last year, but you guys are coming back this year. Yesterday's guest on Cars Yeah was Brian Redmond. So let's talk about what this event means to you, because being a local, this is near and dear to your heart, right?
It is. It is. Brian is actually the grand ambassador of the festival. He was the Grand Marshal last year, and this year I'm the Grand Marshal. But, Chattanooga is such a wonderful place, Mark. I tell you, I happen to have been fortunate to build a huge business that went worldwide, and we ship this product all over the world. And Chattanooga is like a 3/4 day drive, from about 75% of the car population of America. If you take off California and Oregon and Arizona, then, it's like 80% of the vintage car population, collector car population of the world. And Chattanooga's really got it going on. We've got a renovated downtown. We've got politics that reaches across the aisle and works together. Go figure. Can people really do that today? Yes, they do it in Chattanooga.
It's nice to know.
And because of that, we've got a Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, and it is a really fun thing. And my good friend Byron and Ken DeFore have really invented in their minds how this thing needs to be and how it's going to attract people to Chattanooga and, around the things that they love a lot, just like me, and they're living up to it. It's really a wonderful event and family friendly and right downtown Chattanooga.
When you retired from the business, what has your life been like since you so-called retired? Because if you're like my dad and so many other people, retirement just means getting busy with a lot of stuff you really love to do.
Well, I'm not really retired. I'm working harder now than I ever have with the speed shop. We're building cars, and I have a property development business. And, I don't like the word retired. I'm really just unemployable, which is, most entrepreneurs and business owners understand that. It's very hard to work for somebody if you have demanded of yourself, 80-hour weeks and perfection. And, you want the trust of employees, and, you want to serve your customers and be a servant leader to your employees. So that's really what I'm doing. I'm involved in some ministries. I got small groups for men, and I think iron needs to sharpen iron. And I think a lot of the problems of this country would go away if men became the fathers they were supposed to be. But anyway, I'm having a great time. We just recently got back from Monterey Historics, and 2 cars that we had built here in the shop, we raced on the track at Laguna Seca.
Nice.
A 1911 Marmon Wasp and a 1911 Lozier, and my guys and I were dressed in period attire, and we drove that Marmon Wasp and that Lozier through the corkscrew and just had the time of our lives. So, I think we're supposed to have fun when we're working. If we don't, then, we're missing the boat.
Well, you're the consummate Cars Yeah guest, someone who's figured out how to wrap their passion for vehicles and cars into their careers and their lives. And before we walk into a lot of the different things that are happening this year at the Chattanooga event, talk a little more about Honest Charlie Speed Shop and what you're doing there. I think it sounds fantastic.
Well, we have, Mark, a car collection here. I, started collecting cars many, many years ago when, I could go borrow a 90-day note at the bank and buy a collector car and then fix it up and sell it, and before the note came due. But then there came a period of time that I didn't need to sell them anymore. So I've been collecting cars, and we're at the Coker Museum here at Honest Charlie Speed Shop. We've got about 150 cars and about 100 bikes on display. But at the Speed Shop, we're not really focused on selling parts like Honest Charlie Card did when he started the business back in 1948.
Wow.
Here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was the first mail-order speed shop in the world.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it sure was. The good folks in California that developed a pretty nice little speed shop, they actually built cars, and that's what we've kind of changed to. So Honest Charlie started as a mail-order speed shop, and it's really been a lot of fun. We're building. I like early brass cars. I like tomorrow I'm going to pick up a 1959 Jaguar XK150 drop head coupe that's been in a barn for 40 years.
Oh my gosh.
So those are the dream fun things that you get to do, and the cars find me now. So we're just having more fun than a man should have.
I love it. I'm so happy for what you're doing. Well, I know that you took Brian Redmond on a little drive in your Mercer around the purpose-built track that's going to be happening at this Chattanooga event, because there's going to be a bit of a race there, right?
Yes, sir. It's a wheel-to-wheel race. And there will be about, I don't know exactly how many classes there will be, about 6 or 7, I believe. But I'll be racing in the Prix 20 brass class. And I did take Brian Redmond, a 7-time international champion. I told Brian that as he was riding in my 1911 Mercer Raceabout, I said, Brian, this is a 100-mile-an-hour car. And in typical Brian Redmond fashion, he said, well, not with me in it. It won't. So we had a great time. Brian is as I mentioned, the grand ambassador of the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, and we'll be here with bells on and signing autographs. He's a wonderful man and a wonderful tribute to our hobby and to racing, and we're just pleased that he's continued to be involved.
He's a wonderful guy. He's been a guest several times here on Cars Yeah. In fact, he's the only guest that I had him as a guest first time on his birthday, and he sang to us the British birthday song, which if you've ever heard it is hilarious. It's a bit self-deprecating and kind of fun and kind of silly, but he sang it to us on his birthday. I thought that was cool. But you guys are going to have some other really cool celebrities at the event. I believe Linda Vaughn's going to be there, David Hobbs, Ray Everham, Lindsay James, Alonda Cadenet, Wayne Carini. I mean, there's a whole host of great people at this event.
Wayne Carini's got the second best mustache in the hobby.
The second best, yeah. Let's see, who has the first? I'm trying to think who that might be. Yeah, I think I know him.
Mark. Hey,
yeah?
Mark.
Yeah.
Moi. It's mine, baby.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of your hair. I've got no hair, and you're like the king of hair. So, oh my gosh.
It's really easy to explain. There's a lot of fertilizer underneath it.
I'm not going to touch that one. I'm not going to touch that one.
Yeah. My grandfather was a lot shorter than I am. I'm 6 foot tall, and he was about 5 foot tall, and he had 2 nice little patches above his ears, and the rest of it was, he could put a little bit of Barry Maguire's wax on the top of it, make it shine. Really,
that's what I do.
Wonderful. Yeah, but my grandfather would look up at me, and he'd point his finger at me, and he said, "Now, Corky, if you want to use all those hormones to grow hair, that's your business." I thought it was pretty good for a 97-year-old man.
Well, can I borrow that line? I think I'm going to use that line sometime. I think that's pretty cool.
You're going to have to start paying a license because there's about 4 or 5 of them now already.
Okay. No problem. No problem. You're a good businessman. You know how to do it. Well, there's going to be some great people there. Let's walk through a little bit of the different types of events, because one of the things they're going to start off is what they call the West Village Road Rally. Explain to our listeners what that means.
Yes, sir. Well, it's a time speed endurance rally, and we'll probably do about 200 to 250 miles per day on the West Village Road Rally, and then they'll go through the back roads of North Georgia and Northern Alabama, and up through into the mountains, the Appalachians, and around Chattanooga, we have some of the best riding roads. When just about an hour and a half from here is the Tail of the Dragon.
That's right,
and that is infamous for all the, scrillions of curves there are on the stretch of road that is called the Tail of the Dragon. But this rally is, it'll leave from the Westin Chattanooga downtown hotel in the mornings and be back by early afternoon, so that all the festivities during the evening time will be enjoyed by the rally participants. But it takes a bright mind and a wonderful collector car or sports car and an agility to just read instructions. I've done and we owned the Great Race for many years.
Yes.
I saved it out of bankruptcy and reestablished it and made it again very profitable. And so I've done the coast to coast rally from as many as I think it's 11 times.
Wow.
And my wife was my navigator, and my son, who this earlier this year just passed, but he was what I called my aggravator, because he got to tell me where to go and what to do all day long every day during the rally.
Yeah,
so it was a wonderful event. But these rallies are just a tremendous amount of fun, and we've got that packed in for the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival along with many other things.
Yeah, I recently, last month, I had the two sisters who won this year's Great Race. First time women winners, and Olivia and Jenna, two young ladies who have participated but drove this year and won it outright. I mean,
they did.
Tremendous.
They did.
Yeah.
Yep. They started coming on Great Race when they were too young to drive. Yep. And in fact, when they said that, no, we're not going to sell programs for you anymore, Mr. Coker, we want to drive on the Great Race. Well, we had to give them a waiver, and they had to sign off. Their parents had to sign off because Jenna was too young. She was only 15 as a navigator. Yeah. But my son navigated when he was 12, and Sawyer Stone navigated when he was 11, I think, for Dave Reeder. So it was okay to have a younger navigator, but Olivia was 16 and her sister was 15 when they started driving.
Yeah, incredible.
So wonderful, and they beat their mom and their uncle this year.
Yeah, they showed everybody.
Pretty fun.
I think it's great. It's a testament not only to women in our industry, but also young people coming into the car hobby, which is really reassuring for let's say more mature gentlemen like you and I, that there is hope for the future, for most definitely.
Absolutely. There is always hope.
Absolutely. I think it's great. Now, we talked a little bit about the actual wheel tour racing that's going to happen. Have they they've set up a road course, haven't they, around town where it's going to be a road race, a real race? It's cool.
Sir.
Yeah.
A purpose-built race course in downtown Chattanooga. Wow. About half to 60% of it's on private property, and there's a huge, big new development going on in that area that they're actually building a city with nightclubs and restaurants and apartments and condos, and it's going to be somewhat San Antonio, Texas, like in that there will be a river that flows through the middle of it. And Jimmy Wright, the developer, and his crew have bought into the plan that Byron and I proposed about building this purpose-built racetrack, so that in the future, as they build their development, they'll build bridges over so that or tunnels underneath, so that the dwellers, the folks that are doing restaurants or living inside the racetrack, will be able, when we have an event, they will be able to come in and go and come out. And this racetrack is going to be on Riverfront Parkway in downtown Chattanooga, and on this wonderful property that's surrounded and next door to the Tennessee River, and in view of Lookout Mountain, where beautiful Rock City and Ruby Falls is, and all of the beautiful scenery here in Chattanooga.
You guys are living in heaven, it sounds like, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very
God
cool.
lives here.
Definitely. Now, I understand also there's going to be a big party on Saturday in addition to a charity car show, if you will. I mean, it's a cruise-in basically, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a cruise in, and I started cruise ins in Chattanooga some number of years ago, and right here in downtown Chattanooga, at where my Coker Tire Company was and Honest Charlie is, we had thousands of cars, and it was always April the 1st, and this private equity group bought it and they moved it somewhere, made a mistake, but and they're going to try to continue and revamp their attempt at cruise ins here on the property and raise some money for charity. absolutely. And the whole purpose of the event is 50 Plus Racing is raising money for Dr. Devlin's neurological research at CHI Memorial Hospital. It's a really great thing to raise money for, and Alzheimer research. My mother-in-law and father-in-law both passed with Alzheimer's, and it's a terrible, terrible disease. Yes. And anything that we can do, I think, in maybe in our lifetime, if Jesus doesn't come first, that they'll find some cures for Alzheimer's. I sure hope so.
Well, I sure hope so. And you kind of led me into that. All of these great events, car events around the world, do a great job of raising money. And what they're doing for the part of the 50 Plus Foundation and helping people. We've had family members in my family with Alzheimer's. It's a terrible disease. And the fact that a lot of the funds going from this contributions are going to be raising money for that, which I think is absolutely spectacular and so needed. Also, of course, we can't leave out the Concours d'Elegance. I understand there's going to be 19 classes starting from brass era, tin, all the way up to radwood cars and a special collection of Ferraris too, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. The gathering of the great will be right there at the Westin Hotel of the Ferraris, and we've got a wonderful place for a concourse and right downtown Chattanooga, and it's wonderful for families, husband and wives, children, because, we're within walking distance of the Discovery Museum. You can walk in and out of the concourse. It's around MLK and the Westin Hotel, and there are restaurants there. It's a wonderful, wonderful place, and it's when it's within walking distance of the Pace Grand Prix, also just over the hill.
Nice.
And then the Mecum auction that we've not talked about yet will be at the Chattanooga Hamilton County Convention and Trade Center, and there'll be 600 cars for sale.
600
auction. 600 cars. Whoa. Frank and Dana Mecum are bringing to auction off here in Chattanooga, and so if you walk through the concourse and find that you like a 69 Jaguar E-Type convertible, you might just walk down to the Mecum auction, sign up, give them your black American Express, and just buy one.
Yeah, why not? Well, Frank was a guest on the show here last year, and so Mecum being part of this whole thing, I mean, it's a 3-day extravaganza. I mean, if you're going to this event, you should be. There's something for everybody that's happening here. Let's take a short break and thank our sponsors, and we come back. I've got some more questions for you about last year's event, what excited you, and then a couple other questions. I'm going to crawl into your head, Corky, so sit tight. Think about that. We'll be right back.
Good.
Have you looked under your hood recently? The average car today has more than 70 computers and 100 million lines of code. Today and tomorrow, being a professional technician requires an understanding of technology, computers, and electrical systems that are highly advanced and very complex. Cars Yeah! is honored to support TechForce Foundation as our charity of choice. Their efforts to help young people pursue a technical education and a fulfilling career as automotive techs is the key to an inspired life. Through scholarships, grants, and good old-fashioned hands-on experiences with vehicles, TechForce and Cars Yeah! are working together to connect young people with viable careers. Join us and learn more by visiting techforce.org today. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARS Yeah! when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. So, Corky, let's do this. Let's think back to the first Chattanooga event. The second was supposed to be last year, but as we know, COVID changed things for us. But we're back to this year, and things are getting better, which is great. When you think back to the first event, What was one of the things that excited you the most? There was so much going on, but is there one thing looking back that really stood out for you?
Well, for me, I was able to drive my 1910 Nyberg Indy race car down the speed trials, and just one car at a time. And we had Brian Johnson from ACDC here, and he was driving in a blower Bentley. I think he calls Thunder or something like that. And he and I we kind of cheated and raced together, and that was a great fun time. But, I got to work with my good friend Jim Pace the first year as he was president of the Motorcar Festival, and Jim unfortunately passed on to heaven a little early, catching COVID, and he didn't last but just a short time with COVID. And anyway, we named the Grand Prix, the closed course wheel-to-wheel racing, after Jim, and it's the Pace Grand Prix this year.
Wow. So, we lost him way too soon, for sure.
Yeah, way too soon. He was a wonderful guy. It's really interesting. You can Google Jim Pace about a wreck he had last year, and he taught a lot of guys how to drive race cars. And his race car that he was in last year in 2020 just caught some air, and it flipped up and did a couple, 2 or 3 somersaults in the air, and it's on video. Anyway, Jim walked away from that without a scratch, and this stupid disease just took him out in a matter of a couple weeks.
It's tragic. It is tragic, but he left behind a wonderful legacy for everybody to enjoy, and a wonderful, wonderful man. When you think about what's coming up here with this event, and let's focus on maybe the Concours for right now, is there one or two, or are there one or two unique vehicles coming that you're really excited to see?
Well, I've approached a couple friends that have a Duesenberg J supercharged touring car to bring. Last year we had, or in 2019 we had a beautiful Auburn Speedster that was absolutely meticulously restored. There are some guys that you kind of hold their cards close to their chest and work on their restorations for up to several years before they debut it and choose. And we've got a couple cars that are coming that they've asked not to announce that they're coming first. And but it'll be exciting. I guarantee you we'll have some exciting cars and some wonderful stuff to view at our concourse. First one out was amazing, and this second one's going to even be more amazing.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to crawl into your head. This is a unique question that I'm guessing no one's ever asked you before. I asked all my guests this question. Corky, if you were manifest as a vehicle, now this isn't what you want to be. This is your personality, which is very, very unique and cool. Manifest into some kind of a vehicle. What would Corky be?
What would I be?
Yeah.
I love Stutz Bearcats.
You fit.
But they're just whooped up and down the racetrack by Mercers. I guess I'd have to choose my Mercer because those cars, the Roebling brothers, just built a car that is all the physics is just right. It's like driving a full-size go-kart, and it's a big T-head motor, and I can literally on a dirt track I can drift this car on wood wheels.
Really?
And, and 34, 4.5 non-skids. And, we've got a tread patch that's about 3 inches wide. And I remember the first time I rode in one was at Hershey about 20 years ago. It was before the chocolate field at Hershey swap meet was paved. And it rained and it turned into a mud hole. And my friend Fred Hope pulled up in front of the tire stand, and we were slowing down because it was Saturday and everybody was going home. Anyway, he said, "Jump in," and I jumped in, and he probably threw rooster tails in the air, just wee high, going like his hair's on fire. He, like you, was a little bit thin on top, but my hair was on fire, and I just loved it. And I said, I've got to have one of those, and now I do. And I don't know if many of your listeners name their cars, but I've got too many, and people often ask me which one's my favorite, and I usually don't tell them because they're like children, they get jealous, and they might, not run for you or might not behave or whatever. So I never say that my Mercer is my favorite, but that's probably who I would be if I was a car, a 1911 Mercer.
I think that fits you. Yeah, I can see that. When I look at you, you're one of these guys that looks like he's been around forever, an old soul, and kind of fits right in. I love it when you put that white coat on and those big gloves and you jump in that thing. I mean, you're a great fit for sure. I love to ask my guests if they've read a great book they'd like to share with the listeners today. Is there a book on your shelf that you've really enjoyed that you'd like to share?
Well, I just did a Devo this morning on the Book of Esther. And the Book of Esther in the Holy Bible is an amazing story about how this sweet little Jewish girl became the queen of Persia, and she saved the whole group of Jews that were in exile in Persia, and her uncle who had raised her because her parents had died was a guy named Mordecai. And Mordecai says, "Such a time as this, Queen Esther, you have the ability to go in and talk to the king and save your people." And she did that. So the lesson is, we need to always take advantage of for such a time as this. God puts us in a certain place for such a time as this. And have you or have your listeners paid attention for such a time as this? And it's an important thought. A really important thought. And I just been studying the Book of Esther this past few days, and it's a wonderful blessing to me.
Such a time as this. I love it. Very cool.
Yep.
Well, I have a magic scepter here, and I can take you on a very special ultimate drive. For a guy who's done so many great things in cars, been around great cars, this is a unique question. If I could wave my magic scepter and you could take a drive in any vehicle on the planet, you could be with any person, anyone living or deceased, and you could drive anywhere. What does the ultimate drive look like today for Corky Coker?
Well, I kind of mentioned that I lost my son in a tragic wreck unexpectedly earlier in the year in March, and he left a little baby boy, Thomas. I'd love to take my 1911 Pierce 48 touring car with my son to Fairbanks, Alaska, and drive old roads and just have the trip of a lifetime. But there wasn't a question mark behind his faith, and he's in heaven, and I'll get to see him soon, and we'll drive on those funny looking streets that are yellow, and they call it pavement up there, but it's gold.
Gold, yeah. Well,
yep.
My sincere condolences for that loss, but that sounds like a pretty darn wonderful ride with your son. You can toss your grandson, no doubt you have, into some of your great cars and share the passion of cars with him. Corky, I can't thank you enough for taking time out to be on the show. I've wanted to have you as a guest forever. I finally got you thanks to our good friend Judy Stropus. She puts me together with everybody. Now that your life hasn't really settled down, it's just changed a little bit. So I really appreciate you being a friend of mine today. Before I let you go, would you share some parting words of wisdom or advice when it comes to life, cars, or the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival?
Well, come to Chattanooga. It's a wonderful place for the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. We have the fastest internet, and actually, people come to Chattanooga and get and fall in love with Chattanooga. It's gig city. We have 10 gig speed here, and it's a wonderful place. But I would just say on the life part is love somebody. I'm just a big old burly guy with a big mustache, dumb country boy, and I'm not afraid to tell a man who is my buddy that I love him. And just tell your mama and your children that you love them, because they might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah, so important. Yeah, embrace today, absolutely. Can people, when they're in Chattanooga, come and see Honest Charlie Speed Shop? Is that open to the public?
Absolutely. The CokerMuseum.com or HonestCharlie.com. And we're at 1309 Chestnut Street. We're open from Wednesday to Sunday.
Nice.
And it's a small fee, but it just attempts to help pay the air conditioning bill so that the cars stay good and dry. And we have a great time, and there are no do not touch signs in this museum, and most everything runs, and it's a unique museum. So we get in and make them run, and like I said, we're working on them every day. So come and see us in Chattanooga. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely, listeners. And I'll put all the links here on Corky's show notes page. He's very easy to find because he's obviously the only Corky Coker here on Cars Yeah. He's the only Corky Coker in the world, so that's an easy name to remember. You can also learn more by going to ChattanoogaMotorcar.com. Get your tickets. I encourage you, you know what? Life is fleeting. Take some time. Get out to Chattanooga and be a part of this event because it is going to be spectacular. Corky, hey, thanks for, again, spending some time with us today and for sharing your wonderful life and experiences with us. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you at the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival for sure.
Sounds good. Let's get in and go, Mark.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.